still want one with outliers, but we're gonna use this one. At least the pants are a little less big. Oh god, hang on. Oh, I was all ready to come up here and tell you how much better I was feeling. I guess I'm still coughing and blowing, but I am going to work today. In fact, I have to go in a couple of hours, so I can only do this for a little bit. But I had some time. I was awake. I didn't get to stream last night. I ended up turning in early. So here I am. Um, I have a lot of thoughts. The topic I wanted to do today is allies, building the kingdom. It's not something you could do alone. Or why would you even want to? That's not a kingdom. You could just go get you an island somewhere and live on it with yourself or your family. Shutter Island. Um, the kingdom is built with other people. Communities are built with other people. Societies, groups, civilizations. The trick, the key to a successful one, a healthy one, I think, is finding who those people are. Because you can't just build a civilization with anybody. Or you could try. Survivor does that. They drop 16 random strangers off on an island, and then they have to start from scratch and build shelters, civilization, get food, all of that. And none of them know each other. They might get along, they might not. I am. Well, part of it's intentional because I'm going to do a little monologue first, and then I'll drop the link. But I've been talking to myself a lot lately in many more ways than you even know, including myself. Even with myself, I'm talking to myself. I may, I'm, I may or may not get into that. I think I'll get into some of it because there's some personal growth in there that's emerging that I'm trying to pull out, and I haven't quite caught it yet. So I want to talk about that part. But first, I want to talk about the kingdom building. Yes, values. It keeps coming back to values. Oh, thanks, Ricardo. I'm trying a new AI image creator. I'm gonna be my own producer. This is a solo act. Daddy's home. I feel like I gave the keys to the teenagers, knowing I shouldn't have. Or this is where it'll tie into today's theme. Knowing, not necessarily knowing that I shouldn't have, because there comes a point where I think the parents have to take the risk at some point of giving the keys to the teenager. It's just knowing when that point is. And I think I did it without properly figuring out if it was the point to do it at. And that is where I erred. Um, I'll get into the particular part of it in a minute, but back to the allies. Well, yes, today I have news for y'all. I'm everybody's daddy because this is a solo project now. I'm taking control of the panel. We're a dictatorship again. We're a tyranny. It is me. I'm driving the ship. You can get in the back seat if you want to ride and like where we're going. But other than that, everything is on hold. Everything is on pause until I reestablish it on my terms, or terms that we mutually agree on through conversation and pinning out some details like actual grown adults do in the business world. That's what I should have stuck by the first. Speaking of values, I think you're helping me because I was trying to figure out. All right, I'll just get into it. I This happens to me all the time where I'll put something together very early. I'll catch on to something, I'll notice something, I'll see something in the pattern that's off. The picture will start to come in. and I will dismiss it. And we talked the other day about desire and how the things that kind of can distort our perception or the data that we select and frame when we're putting reality together are seeing reality like we want it to be because of our desire for it to be a certain way. And then also wanting it to align with actual reality is the other way we can kind of distort it. If we want it to be too much, too correspondent, we can overlook the aspects of it that are different from what we expect. But I knew, because I have a lot of experience in this, I knew I was seeing something that needed further exploration. But I overrode it for the same reason I think a lot of people overrode it, because they wanted it to be true. They wanted this to be the thing. And in the process of doing that, I went against my own trust in myself that I should have had. I knew I was right. And instead of trusting that, I stopped trusting it and I trusted this kumbaya, we're going to build this thing. No, and that's not a bad thing to do, but it's a bad thing to do when you know in the part of you that always knows. And this is a repeat of what I did in Seattle. I came up here for a week. I met the ex. He was a major like Spurg. There was a lot of mirroring. I felt like, oh my God, this is miraculous that two people like us meet. We can finally like have the type of relationship that we don't get to have because all the neurodivergence and everything. But I was seeing little flags the whole time, and I was dismissing. I was filing them away, but I wasn't acting on them. I wasn't incorporating them into my picture. I was only putting in the parts that I wanted to see, that I wanted to be true, because I wanted this to happen so bad. It was too good to be true. There's no way anybody like he and I would ever have met. The universe was putting us together. And I still say this to this day, because this is what justifies it from an external point of view. There's probably no two people more alike on the planet right now than me and this guy. We really did have those similarities were actually there. They were not imagined. Um, and I remember the night before I had to get on the plane, because the way I did it was I shipped all of my possessions, my books, my clothes, the little bit of stuff I owned. I shipped it in boxes to Seattle first, and then I hopped on a plane with the carry-all and my laptop, and that's it. And then my stuff was going to be in Seattle about the same time I got there. And so the night before I had to get on that plane and leave, the things had already left me behind. I wasn't even leaving anything behind because I was the last thing to leave. Everything I owned was on its way to Seattle. I had my little bag and my laptop, and I'm at the airport about to hop onto a plane into the unknown. I knew this guy barely a week, but that connection was so powerful. And it was so full of hope and promise and just everything that you think you deserve out of life projected into it. And I got up here, and honestly, I remember the anxiety on the plane. It was just constant turmoil and anxiety because it was like you're either making the right decision or the wrong decision. But whatever decision it is, you're locked in now. You're on the plane. There's no way to reverse it. Your fate, you have cast your fate. But the night before I got on the plane, we had our last phone conversation. And that's when he told me to trust me, put my life in his hands. That was his exact words. The inside of my being, my soul, whatever that is, that part of you, it was in the body, it wasn't even the mind, was screaming at me, screaming, no, no. It was like on Twin Peaks when the giant is like, and I was ignoring it. I wanted to be on that plane so bad. I was jumping into a new life. Nothing was going to stop me. And when I got to Seattle that first night, because I was on the plane and very uncertain, was it right? Was it wrong? Was I stupid? Was I smart? And when I landed, he picked me up. We went to his house. And I remember when I got to his house, I went downstairs. That's where his like entertainment room is. And I sat on the floor or the couch or something. And I remember feeling this overwhelming sense of peace. And like I had 100% made the right decision. I was freaking out for nothing. It felt absolutely good to be here. We were going to do this amazing, wonderful thing together. And so for the first day or so, everything seemed like it was matching what I thought it was going to be in my mind and that I was doing the right thing. And then the nightmare started and it just got worse and worse and worse. I don't know if you've ever lived with an extreme psychopath. Not the kind of, are they a psychopath? Might they be? But borderline criminally insane psychopath. It's scary. Um, I ignored that screaming part of me. And I knew it at the time. That's why a lot of the trauma from the Seattle thing that I beat myself up for is me. It is me I can't forgive. I knew better than to put myself in this situation. I can't blame him. Me. I made the choice. It was my agency that put everything together, got myself on that plane. At any point along the way, I could have stopped any of it, and I had the knowledge that I should have. I desired so badly the vision, the dream, and I did the same thing recently. I knew in the back what was what, and I allowed myself to be convinced. I convinced myself to take an act of trust that it would be different if I didn't know I should not have done it. It's like, okay, we this is a trust exercise, that's fine. I'm willing to, I do those all the time. This was one where I knew not to, and I did it. And I'm disappointed in myself. I don't think any damage was done. The community's fine. But what I was trying to explore was what was it in me that allowed me to so easily, so quickly suspend that trust? Why was that trust so easily drawn away when it's normally not? Because it wasn't grounded enough in something. And I bet that something is some kind of value. And so what I need to figure out is what value is so strong that I'm going to be able to stick that trust in it and it's not going to move so quickly. It's going to, if it moves at all, it's going to have to move under terms that I set. That's what I didn't do. And so when you talked about, let me scroll up, hang on. And I'm going to get to comments in just a sec and drop the link. A society must have shared values or it cannot survive. That is what, this is hard for me because I really am serious about this channel. And I have a feeling that's, in fact, I already know it is. It's going to force me into, I've seen this all the time in documentaries. I've seen it in friends that have moved up in companies. I think we've reached a stage of the community building. Good, authentic community is organic. It just happens. But now we're a community with a mission, or at least I am. And everyone's invited to come along, but I'm not going to force any of you. We're still going to be a community. You can still be not about the mission, but the mission's going to take priority. And because of that, missions are different than community organically forming, and they take some kind of execution ability. And I've been thinking through it in my head, and I almost don't see any way to get that kind of mission off the ground without some kind of authoritarianism, some kind of just top down command structure with a lot of consultation, dialogue, conversation, input for all of that. But at some point, we're going to need a daddy to just lay down the path and keep us on it. And I'm going to have to be that daddy until we get one that can help do it. And so daddy is home, and I have a feeling there's going to be some casualties because there's going to be people that are not going to, and I don't blame them. I don't like that kind of stuff either. But I said the other day, I'm on a mission. You don't have to be on it with me, but don't get in front of me. Don't try to put something in my path. Don't throw marbles for me to trip on, or like put a log in the way, or stick your leg out. Nothing like that. You are courting the wrath of hell. I promise you. Don't do that. So I'm going to move forward, but I think that value, at least for now, because since I can't find one, and values are partially created anyway, that one's good enough for me right now. I'm going to continue to trust those instincts, but I'm going to ground them in. This is the big mistake. This is where, if this was like a Shakespeare play and you had to trace the point at where the tragedy started, I should have insisted on the conversation that I've been trying to have for weeks. And if you have to chase somebody for a conversation, that's a flag right there. So open access. If you're going to collaborate with me, I need access to you, because collaborating is dialogue and conversation, especially if that's our strength. I should have insisted on a conversation so that I could get the information I need to decide to give the trust or not. And I didn't. For very good reasons, but not good enough reasons. And so I was careless with my own judgment because I did not insist on professional standards that I would have done with anybody else. And so, and professionalism is very hard for me. I have such an aversion to it. I resist it in the real world. But we talked the other day about how standards, like with the AI videos, they're creating a standard, they're creating a bar, at least a cultural one. Standards can be used in a positive way to gatekeep. And I think if we set some good positive standards, as we're trying to find out what the good is, once we see a pattern to that, we can develop some of that into standards. And then people either show up with those standards and are able to meet them, or they're not. And they're welcome to stay, but there's going to be standards for being part of the actual community building. I think that sounds fair to me, to have the kind of community I'm trying to have. And so I need to be more strict and more consistent with me doing the vetting that I need to do and getting the information that I need to make my decisions and my choices. And I kind of slacked on that in this situation. And that's everything was downstream from that lapse in my own self, from failing to hold my own self up to a standard that I knew I should have insisted on. And so you learn from failure. That's what I needed to learn. I wasn't quite sure what it was when I first signed on, and I didn't know how much I wanted to get into it, but I saw a learning opportunity there. So ultimately, That's what this is. And the two things I learned is we're raising the bar. We're going to start implementing standards. I'm sorry if you don't meet them. I love you anyway, but I have to do this thing. And I want everyone to be a part of it, but I know not everyone's going to be able to. And the second thing is Daddy is indeed home. His name is Jeff. Professionalism's new to me, daddyhood is new to me, but there's nobody else stepping up for the job. So I'm going to sit in this chair in the meantime because somebody has got to drive this thing. And it keeps veering toward cliff after cliff after cliff. And I played that submarine game and I'm getting flashbacks because I was the one bringing it to most of those cliffs. So I can't do that with this channel. And I welcome support in any kind of way you can give it. Moral support, advice, strategic support, stepping in, helping out, like with moderation, just any kind of support, because this is a one-man show and I'm steering a big vessel right now. All right, I better stop. Here's the link. All right, I'll do comments in the meantime. I just got to make sure I get to work in 2 hours, so don't let me be here then. All right, there you go. The portal to hell is open. Enter, mortals, or be damned. Oh, African, thank you. Thank you. That's already incurred. That is going to really help because that probably would have done some good too. I could use a little more of that as well. In fact, I've been working those streets, girl. Yes, thank you. This is what I truly believe. That I've said this so many times, but fathers and fatherhood, without fathers, and by that I mean men with families, raising kids, the next generation. That is the backbone of society. That is like the concrete and the brick and the steel structure of society. If that's weakening, if you can't support and fortify, you forget everything after that. Like so that role in society and the men, and I'm not saying women don't also do it and have a similar role. I was raised by a single mom. To this day, I'm in awe of the superhuman strength. She raised four kids, three of us boys, which are very hard to raise. And she raised me just alone. Should get something. Um, Worked full time, single parent salary. So women absolutely can be heroes. I only limit myself to men because that's what I know. So when I focus on men and talk about men, it's not to exclude women. It's just to kind of define my area of focus and expertise. And I think men need that, and I think they need to support each other. I think dads, fathers, non-fathers, men, they need to be forming these friendships, these connections. That's what I'm trying to help do on here. But they need to be healthy ones. And that's one thing I'm trying to do with my channel is help us find a way to figure out what the healthy ones are. And so I started the topic with like when you're building your kingdom, you need other people to build it with, but how do you find how do you know who those people are? You need some set of criteria, some standard to be able to find the people. And that's where because of all of my stuff, I am horrible. I'm just fumbling around in the dark. I am horrible at finding the right people. Boyfriends, friendships, jobs, coworkers. It's like a roll of the dice every single time. I don't have a clear-cut way to know, yep, keep this person, nope, get rid of this person, filter them out. It's trial and error every time, and I get it right or wrong 50-50. But the thing I do get right like 90% of the time is that little thing in the back of me that forms very quickly once I start to notice something. So if I don't have that information, I'm blind. If I have that, I can navigate by it, but I have to be able to trust it. Because there's also that little 10% time where it's wrong. So it's not foolproof. So there has to be some secondary method for reinforcing whether to trust it or not. And that's what I need to develop. That's what I didn't have developed. And that if I had, I think all of this could have been avoided. So now I know that's one of the psychospiritual technologies that the little satyr in the woods needs to get in the lab and work on. Develop a way to start knowing how to evaluate when to trust that voice or not. Because I know when it appears. It's not a question of identification. It shows up, and I know right away when it's there. I don't always incorporate it. So come on up. Let me look at some comments. And Kitty, it's very good to see you. I hardly ever go to Benjamin's anymore, mainly because the topics and guests just don't seem much interesting anymore. But then who am I to talk? Um, Dino, hello, hello. We're gonna work on it. They say, what is it? Be your own father. I pretty much had to be. Like I talked yesterday about the father-shaped hole that got left very early before my memories even started. All I have is photographs as proof that it was even there. And so I've always kind of had to feel that father role my own self without even knowing that I had to do it. And I don't think I did that great of a job. If people that grew up without fathers have some kind of traits about them in common or some kind of stigmata on them that people recognize, like, oh, he didn't grow up with a father, I could tell by the way he acts. I'm definitely one of those people. And I think a lot of people that show up here are. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty good about my thing is knowing when there's a lesson to learn and then being able to find what that lesson is. But I think I'm getting better at that. And these streams are helping, actually. Yeah, and it's not even like you don't even actively create it. It just pops into your head and you get so excited about it, you buy into it and you want it to be real, but it your brain creates it. And then you can like tweak it and stuff and elaborate on it and expand it. I am committed. I am committed. And I'm inspired. I know it was. Talk about the wrestling with yourself because it, you know how there's like not a way to really test all the subjective stuff, but that was one actual way to test. Should I trust? In fact, after that phone call, I remember I put the phone down and I was standing in my apartment. And I remember having the debate with myself, and I said, he told me to trust him and put his life in my hands. And I said, I know I shouldn't do that. And if a friend of mine came to me and told me this, I would say, that is stupid. You do not do that. You are dumb. But, and this is how I rationalized it, I said, what if, as an experiment, what if, for once in your life, and this really truly would have been the first time, somebody knows more about you than you do. Somebody is more right about yourself than you are. That you don't know yourself better than everybody else. And it is possible you have blind spots. It is possible that somebody as similar to you as is ever going to be has some insight into you that you don't have. And it was because of his neurodivergence and his autism and the fact that it mirrored mine so much. Trusting him felt like trusting myself, like another version of myself. And that was the thing that allowed me to do it. And I rationalized it as an experiment. I said, okay, as a test, I'm willing to at least test it. And that's what got me on the plane. I said, I'm going to get on the plane and test what happens if I decide to trust somebody else over me out of trying to be humble and not think that I am the be all end all of self knowledge. Well, guess what? I am the be all end all of self knowledge because he didn't know shit and I should not have trusted him. He was worse than I am at people, at reading people, at figuring people out, and being aware of people. So, yes, let me go back to the comment. Yeah, so when I got on the plane, there was an it was like an actual experiment set up, and there was going to be a result at the end. I was going to know one way or the other. Should I have trusted? Should I not have? And I got my answer, like I said, very early. I got to Seattle 2 days before my birthday, and so my birthday was on a Friday night, Friday 13th, and we went to dinner, and that's the first night I met his mom. And that was like the crack on the windshield that starts to spread that night, my birthday night, which should have been a celebration. I was reuniting with the person that I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and we were going to live in bliss and harmony. And I knew I was going to meet the mom at some point. And he offered, he's like, hey, um, do you want my mom to come along? It would be a chance to meet her. But it is your birthday, so if you want it to be just us, I understand. Now that I'm telling this story, it's almost like the same pattern. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've only been here 2 days. I really would like it to be just us. It's my birthday. I would like it to be a special thing between us. But at the same time, I'm very curious about this mama. I really was dying to meet her because he talked about her nonstop because he was a mama's boy. Um, And so I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? It's just a birthday dinner. I've had plenty of them. It's not that big of a deal if there's a third person there. Yeah, let her come along. This will be meet the mama night. Well, that's exactly what it ended up being was meet the mama night. And Jeff's birthday there was hardly birthday at all. It was all the two of them. I felt like a third wheel on a date with him and the mom. And in fact, I remember we went to pick her up, and I had never met her. So we get to her house, and we're walking up the driveway, and she's at the front door, and she opens the door. They talk every day. They see each other 3 or 4 times a week. He rang the doorbell. She's like right there at the door, waiting to open it. She opens the door. You would think he had just gotten home from Iraq in the uniform. Oh my God, son! Oh my! She takes him, she hugs him, she like it was like a reunion that they hadn't seen each other in years. And I'm standing there and I'm already getting red flags. So we walk to the kitchen and he went to the restroom. So it's me and her in the kitchen. And we're talking and she's hardly saying anything to me. Like she's like, "So how was your trip? How do you like see? Would you like some water?" So she's getting me some water. There's not a lot of energy going on between the two of us. And he gets out of the bathroom and she's handing me the water. So she's facing me. The minute she sees him coming, she like drops everything, pushes me aside, and he runs into her arms and she hugs him again while I'm standing there in the kitchen with the water right next to them, like I don't even exist. And I remember my heart. It was like an elevator, like the cable was cut, and it sank. There was this sinking. It just sank into the floor, and I'm holding that water, watching the two of them. They like merged into one person. And I remember thinking, holy shit, what the fuck did I just walk into? And I was alone. It was like I was the only sane, normal person in the entire room holding this glass of water. And I had to go to dinner with these people. That was the crack in the windshield where all of my hope, vision, dream, desire met reality, cracked, clashed, and started to spread and split and split and split, and my whole psyche split, my mind split, like everything split. I'm still recovering from that split because of that one experiment of what if for no reason at all. Actually, in my mind, I had good reasons. Um, you just randomly let decide a total stranger knows more about you than yourself, and you trust them. Very reckless, very careless, very impulsive, very spurg thing to do. Very hopefully things that I can learn from. But the thing is, now it's not just me. There's a community that I'm trying to help make happen. And I've always said with Mike, my Mike, the guy that I lost. Um, I grew up with him. Like that was me at my most adult. And I think one of the reasons is because I wasn't just thinking for myself. I had another person that I had to care for, be concerned about. When I was making decisions, I had to make decisions with another person in mind. And I think all of that was good for me. I think it matured me, it stretched me beyond myself. And when I lost that, it went back to just me. Like, okay, I'm the only person, I was the only person left of that entire 8 years, 7 years. And I had to rebuild. And I could only rebuild from me and where I wanted to go from there. I didn't have that second person anymore to have to. And it was a whole, it took years to like reorient to that. I've always said I'm a much better collaborator. I'm really good when I have another person or two to, because you get that energy, like just a single person. I mean, there are some very charismatic people, I guess, that could just self-generate that, but I'm much better when I feel like I have part of the piece, or piece of the piece, a part of the puzzle. But other people bring parts that I don't have and that I can't even foresee. And so I have to change my whole vision and creative process every time a new person comes along with their piece. And that's exciting to me because it expands mine. And a lot of my best work has been through collaboration. Well, community building itself is collaborative. But again, it goes back to the theme of finding those collaborations. And so far, I've been finding them through trial and error. But I need to work on a way to kind of expedite that process and accelerate it, and having some kind of standard that I can identify quickly. Like, okay, I know what the standard is. Do they meet that standard? Am I seeing that standard? Yes or no? And I was kind of doing that without really putting it in those terms to myself, but I did have a standard. It was not being met. That's one of the things that I was using to like hold back on the trust. But again, like I needed a conversation to fully sort that out. And that was also kind of unusual that I don't know, there was weirdness. There's weirdness going on. I don't have to figure any of it out. It doesn't involve me. But I think it was more weird than I was aware of, and if I had caught on to that, that also might have helped me to like slow the car down a little bit. All right, let me get some more comments. Oh, thank you. We at least what I really would really help most. This is what I'm really holding out for. Is somebody one or more. I'll start with. I'm happy with one. If I get one, I won't ask for any more. Um, Somebody that's as excited and inspired as I am about the idea of become like helping people to become their better self, and kind of has the drive and passion and excitement about it, and time and energy and everything you need, all the ingredient, that intrinsic motivation, and wants to put our skills and talents together. Because I bring some stuff. I bring a lot of the conceptual, the visionary, the verbal, the communicative. I'm able to interface with lots of different people and communicate it. And I bring the kind of 55 years of experience with a lot of this stuff. I have an eye for a lot of things. And some people have a lot of more technical skills or visual skills or that are just a whole different skill set. So if I can find people with a skill set, someone with a skill set that both complements but also diversifies and expands mine, then we have a larger arsenal to work with. And if we're mission aligned, that's the key, I think, is to be mission aligned. And to be mission aligned involves finding that shared value. And it has to be a value, it's not a value you pick out of a hat. It has to be a actual value that's important enough to you that it drives you. And like I said, you can stick that trust in it. Hey, Zach. Oh, okay. I'll try. I think what it depends on more than anything else, and I'm going to upgrade my mic this week, hopefully, next week. Um, the cold put a delay on things. But a lot of it has to do with how far away this is from my mouth, and I never know where to put it. And also, maybe I'm spoiled, but I grew up, I went to that school. It was a residential school for the gifted. And everything there was at a very high standard. And there were and the people that went there appreciated that and they tried to live and exceed that standard. So I'm used to being around people. Like it was normal for people to constantly be. In fact, our one of our songs every year, it was kind of one of our theme songs, and we sang it at the final choral performance, was The Impossible Dream from Man of La Mancha, which is based on Don Quixote. To dream the impossible dream, to, what's the lyrics? To dream the impossible dream, to chase, let's see, impossible dream. It's a really beautiful song, and it fits what we're doing here quite nicely. The other one we would sing is Stopping by Woods from Robert Frost, and how you have miles to go before you sleep. Let's see, lyrics. Yeah, to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe. That's that fight with the dragon. To bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong. Ooh, I'm choke it up. To love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. That's that goal, that aspiration, that ideal. It doesn't have to be reachable. You just have to be able to navigate by it. This is my quest to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. To fight for the right without question or pause. That's the good. To be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. That ought to be my motto. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this. That one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. Oh man, okay. What time is it? I still got probably another hour, maybe hour and a half. Let's check the news. Gaza, Israel, Trump, Nobel Prize. Nothing so far. No catastrophes of the day, at least that I see. Well, let's talk about you. I did pin the link, right? I think I did. Come, this is a chance to come up and talk to Daddy, get some daddy wisdom, daddy advice, and give me some practice being the daddy around here. I'm doing that leadership thing, and my next Toastmasters meeting. I was ready to give my presentation because it's on visionary leadership, and I thought I was doing so well. I thought that we were finally going where I was trying to get us, and I'm realizing I need a different form of leadership, and it's more of this get it done. Like guys, quit fucking around and let's get down to business and get serious and get shit done. And I kind of thought I had that a little bit with some people. But that's always been an issue here. I mean, we have streams going back years where we're talking about the dreamers versus the doers and the people that just like to sit and geek out on ideas all day, but actually getting them to take a step to do something is the challenge. And how the panel versus like 99% dreamers. That's another thing is it's not going to happen in the panelverse. I hate to say, I'm trying to go out of the panelverse. You have to leave the village and go out into the kingdom to get the people you need. And I think a lot of people are just, the panelverse is like a vortex or an undertow. It's never attracted me ever. I've never seen the appeal of any like by panelverse. I'm talking about Unslavia, Talcadia, that little world. And then the Dramaverse is Joey and those people. But it's all panelverse in the sense of being open panels. I mean, this is panelverse technically. But I've never seen the appeal. So maybe that should have been like something to pay attention to right there. But it's not going to happen. I mean, it might happen their way on their terms, but it's what I'm trying to do is not going to come from the panelverse. So it's going to have to be people that are either not involved in that world to begin with, or any other kind of vortex that they can't seem to break out of, or people that are ready to get the hell out of there and focus on doing something serious and quit playing around with, jacking around with those children. No offense to the children, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm very much about doing something different than what you are for a totally different crowd. Trump will get zero credit. I don't know. I don't even think about Trump anymore. He lost me with the Tylenol autism thing, which thankfully you didn't even hear about after one day. So, and there's another thing he did recently that I forgot, but that I was not happy about him with. I think it was something related to Ukraine, but he might have turned around on that. Okay. Well, that's why I have this channel. We're all we are is one big distraction from the drama. That's really what I'm trying to do. Is give an alter. I'm trying to show that YouTube doesn't have to always be drama or always be conflict content or whatever. It can be something more noble. I'm just trying to offer another option on the menu for people that want it. That's it. No, I'm not prescribing it for anybody. Y'all don't have to do it, but for people that are wanting something different, something that's going to help them be better and achieve their goals and just help society be better, all of that stuff. That I get so excited when I think about that. It kind of makes me feel I already think life is amazing and I'm so happy to be a human and be able to participate in it, but it makes me that much more amazed and appreciative and excited to participate in it when I know that it's part of this larger human creation. Yeah, I don't, I wish, I can't wait for the autism thing to die and people to just like learn to recognize different neurotypes, just like they do different gender expressions, different skin colors, and say, oh, yeah, he's just one of those. That's part of human biodiversity. We'll adjust. Society will be okay. At least stop studying us like we're lab creatures and interact. Like, y'all don't study black people or study gay people and put them under microscopes and try to figure them out. Why do y'all have to study neurodivergent people and try to figure? Just talk to us like you talk to anybody else and learn who we are. Get to know us. So, part of it is because it still gets pathologized and medicalized. Yeah, there's a big industry behind it too. I keep forgetting about that. And parents want, I hate to tell you, and I'm not a parent, I'm a daddy, but not a parent. Parents don't want fucked up kid. They don't want to know that that's what they brought in the world. They want, if there's a kid that's weird and goofy, and they want as much normality as they can get for that kid. And so if they see it as a condition with a cure, that gives them hope and validates them. A lot of autism research and intervention, especially at the young ages that I've found from my perspective, is more about the parent and the school and the people around the kid than the kid themselves. Than what's going on with the kid, what's good for the kid, what does the kid need, why do they need it? Why is the kid doing this thing that you think they need something for? And for all of that, I think it becomes more about kind of standard. This is the standard of behavior. This is the expectation. And how do we get the kid from there to here? Because this is what we desire from the kid for our needs and our reasons. Well, it's almost at an hour. Oh, yeah, I do. I think it's more than one actually because I keep catching spiders and putting them outside and they keep showing back up. And I doubt it's the same spider coming back in. Although they do look alike. Where is it? Just kind of direct me and I'll turn my head. A live spider on camera. They usually sometimes from these beams have ceiling beams. All right. Well, as I was saying, we're coming up on an hour, so if we're not going to have a panel, I'm okay with ending. I don't think I have much more monologue in me. This was therapeutic. I got what I needed from it. I feel good. Um, I still, nothing's changed on my end. I still want to do the thing, build the kingdom. I still want to help other people build their kingdoms, but we got to pin down some terms so that we're very clear on what to expect from each other and what we can offer each other. Like, just we got to adult and get serious and professional. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be enough to get the train moving out of the station. And if you're still enmeshed in Panelverse or have Panelverse addiction or that's your, just be honest. Just say it's not a big deal. It just lets me know that it's not the time and keep the space open for other people. But it's not going to be hard feelings at all. I mean, you know me. I don't even want people that I have to convince and constantly sell and motivate. I want people that feel the same fire I feel and it's driving them already from the inside. So if that's not where anyone's at, that's fine. But I don't want to be misled. That's all. I'm trying to be as upfront and transparent because I think it's going to take that kind of honesty to build what I'm trying to build. So I'm trying to bring it, and I want other people that can bring the same qualities, which we open the stream about finding those core values that we all have in common and being really strong in that. Did it leave? Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap up soon anyway. I got about an hour before I have to be at work. I'm already showered and everything, but I got other things to take care of. So I guess I'll go 2 more minutes and that will be an hour. And then I will send you on your today's Friday, right? I'll be out tonight too for a Friday stream. Hang on. Alrighty. And I get to close with my new song. So have a good Friday. If you work a traditional week, it's a way to wrap up all the good work you've done this week, the hard work, the work that keeps society going. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. If you're a Panelverse addict and you sit on your couch all day and eat Fritos or Cheetos and play on YouTube, well, I guess Friday doesn't really mean anything to you in the first place. So um, have a happy day just like every other day. Ninja, it was very good to see you. We should catch up. What's been going on? I hope I hope all is well. All right. That's kind of pathetic when you're counting down to when your own stream ends. 7 seconds. Yeah, I'll be out tonight. Tonight I'm just gonna. It'll be Friday night. I'm just gonna do a straight open panel. I'm not even gonna try to do a topic or anything, unless I have something to say. But we'll just hang out. We'll do gay bar. All right, that's it. That's an hour. I'm gonna go prepare to do my part for society, and I will see you later on tonight.
State your claim, turn it up, call
Peace
his
out.
name.